Sweet. Hey everyone, just get everything set up for the night. Where is Sam? There we go. Hmm. So let's see. Resident Evil tier list. Gonna go all the way back with the first Resident Evil for PS1. Oh, I think just because of the voice acting itself, it should be S tier, but since it was the first, I think I will give it a solid A. Only because, first one to go, it's like the start of climbing the mountain. Resident Evil 2. I, I bought this game so many times. I had it on PS1. I played it on GameCube, PSP, PS3. Uh, to me, it was just the first perfect horror game because you got Claire and Leon, and just the fact that their stories, it's different. You can literally play the game 4 different times, and it just be a good experience. The gameplay, the voice acting, it really improved from the first one. But I still remember from GameStop, it was before it was weird because I was a little kid on my birthday around 9 or 10, got some money, went to the store, and they sold me this copy of Resident Evil 2. And this is the one that really got me into the series. So I'm gonna put this as it's a really one play throughout the ages, never get bored. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. First game that really got me scared of being by windows. You'll hear the faint stars in the background. And he was both a mini boss and an actual boss that just, you got a reward for killing him and you would get some really good gear, but the fact that he's so freaking hard to kill. Ugh. But I could play this game multiple times. It's good, but I'll give it an A. But see now. Resident Evil Code Veronica. This was a really interesting game. Really big shot up in graphics too. The story I found was phenomenal. It's fun playing as Claire and Chris again. That really gave me a big old nerdgasm right there. And it really just brought back a lot of good nostalgia memories. This one held a good place in my heart growing up because I had a family member who also loved this game and would always want me to play it. So, Code Veronica, a game I can play all the time, never get burnt out. I will give it a slight boost above Nemesis. Resident Evil Survivor. We're back to they used a lot of assets from Resident Evil 2. The story I found was, meh. It's fun to play, but once you play it once, I feel like, yeah, you kind of saw everything. But it's a good experience, but I'll put it at C. Then we have Gun Survivor 2. Just like the past one with Resident Evil Survivor, it takes a what if story from Claire, making a spoiler. So we got all this stuff from Code Veronica, but it turns out just a dream. We get Nemesis back in it, but it's really forgettable in my eyes. It's funny that I rank lower than the first one of the Survivor series, but this wasn't that great. Resident Evil Gaiden. Ugh. Game Boy games. Game Boy horror games. That's literally forgettable. There's nothing much to it. I'm pretty sure it just written off, just something for them to make. I didn't like it. It really had nothing, but Leon did get a cool cutscene in the Game Boy graphics with crusty ass funky lips, and it was funny, so just because it made me laugh more than it did Gun Survivor 2, I'm gonna give it a higher rank. Resident Evil Remake. The first game that traumatized me from the series, that it's probably better to not kill the zombies, because whew, you get a fun surprise later on, and they can open doors. I had so much fun playing this. I bought this game multiple times on GameCube, PlayStation, Xbox, and I got it again on PS4 and Steam. It's one of those that if you want to get into the series, which at this point I think they may have a remake of the remake in the works. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But this game was phenomenal. Loved everything. Big graphic update. Voice voice lines, they weren't that bad. Just because of how big of an improvement this was, I'm gonna put it on S. If you want to get into the series and you haven't, I would really suggest getting it. I know they always have. Speaking of which, Resident Evil 0. It's supposed to take place. Let me do my anime classes look. I believe it was 12 to 14, 12 to 24 hours before the mansion incident, where you get to play as Rebecca, who is part of STARS, Seer and Chris's campaign, and the first Resident Evil, and Billy. Good old Billy boy. Had a system where they tried to be unique by getting rid of the item box, but I felt like that was completely horrible because I am so OCD with picking things up, organizing them. Just to have everything on the floor really bugged me. It's a good experience. I'll defend it. I do like this game, but I play it fairly often. Not often, but sometimes when that itch comes back, I do play it. Resident Evil Gun Survivor, also known in Japan as, I think it was Biohazard Heroes Never Die. Ugh. I always wonder how we ever wonder how we get to this point where they have several games that look beautiful beforehand, and then we get this game. Has the mechanic of being able to go to third person, to first person, and just a really forgettable game. It's fun, but and speaking of which, I think maybe I'll drop this down. When you really think about the gameplay for it, it it's one of those where you have to hit the marker right in between of a sliding game. It's not really that good. Oh, but speaking of earlier, they normally have deals on getting both Resident Evil Remake and Zero, which I would say is perfect to get into it. Resident Evil Outbreak for the PS2. Loading times. Oh, the loading times. Let us talk about 40-second loading times. Like, I love the story. I had great time in this game. I love the different parts of Raccoon City. I love that it was multiplayer, which was awesome. I never got to play the multiplayer, but I found the stories and the characters pretty compelling. But it's one of those two where when you have that itch for it, you'll play it, but besides, not really. Same thing for Outbreak File 2. You just get more locations with, I think I'll put it above the Outbreak because you got actual better, sorry, my brain stopped for a moment. Actual better locations and Wild Things scenario. My absolute fave. Oh, my glasses. There we go. But same place as Outbreak. When you have that anchoring to play it, you'll play it, but otherwise, nothing really. Resident Evil Deadly Silence for the Nintendo DS, which is just technically original Resident Evil Pocket Edition. So many fun new gimmicks to play, more game modes. I have a blast with it. It's just Resident Evil all over again with, it's weird, it's the same graphics on a better processing power of the DS, but you get to do fun mini games in between. Mm, bit at B, but right above the Outbreak games. And Resident Evil. Okay, come on. There we go. Just because it's portable Resident Evil and you can watch it, play it, just have a good time with it, and it's everywhere. I mean, you get to bring it everywhere. Resident Evil 4. I bought this game on everything, even the iPhone version. First game I got on the... No, first game I really wanted on the Nintendo GameCube. First came out, addicted, loved it, played it 36 times. Played it on the PS3, PS4, Xbox 360. It's funny, I even played it for my friend and beat it on the Nintendo Wii, which I really can't even play because it's difficult for me. But I can always have a fun time with this game. I always manage to go back and play it. Resident Evil 5. First game gosh, I remember it too. Bought the limited edition Kijuju edition. Got the steel black case, the patches and everything. I took a day off school to play it. So many hours put into 5. A lot of people are like, oh, it's the turning point. But I'm like, I love playing as Chris. Even punching the boulder, which we all know from horror, it kind of dropped from that. But I can play this game anytime, come back, have a great time. Love Mercenaries, all the Lost in Nightmares DLC. Ah, too good of a time. Which one is this? Resident Evil Mercenaries 3D. I guess if you love Mercenaries, but it's one of those that doesn't improve the story for me. I'll put it above. I'll give it the highest ranking on this on the D list, mainly because I got to see Claire again and better graphics, but you also got to play other characters, you play with friends, but I never got it. Ugh. Resident Evil: The Umbrella Chronicles. I got buff playing this game. I remember there were a few Wii games I could play because, you know, with my disability, just having a grip strength is a very difficult thing. But when there's a will, there's a way. I bought my friend let me borrow his Wii, which I technically kidnapped for a bit, but I let him borrow the PS2. Oh, I bought the little gun that goes in the front, the thing to control the movement with the back. I put it right here, manage it, and I hold it like this and started firing. I love this game. It was good. I'm always a sucker for story like recaps. Yeah, I played it for a good amount, but it's one of those once I 100%, I got too tired. I'm like, time for a break. Same thing with what was it? The Dark Side Chronicles. Improved a bunch on, gave us more story about Leon and Krauser. Improved graphics. I love the shaky cam. Ugh. It was a good game. I love the theme for Resident Evil 2 and 3. Just when I hear things like the Raccoon City incident, the Manson incident, even though it was only brief, I still get giddy about it because they it's like Hyrule. You you know places named Midgar from Final Fantasy. Raccoon City just was a hell of a place, and it was awesome to go through it in more beautiful graphics. Resident Evil. What's this one again? Revelations. I can tell you, it's a good time. I enjoy playing as Jill, Chris, the new people. I didn't play on the 3DS, but I finally got around to playing it on Steam way, way afterwards, just because when you're a fan of something, you want to play the games. I liked it. I liked the sets, the scenes. I had a real good time with it. I need to go back and replay it. It's a good game, so I will give it. Okay, my reason for doing that is because I I want to play it again. It's a great story. It continues more the world building of Resident Evil. It just some segments in that game weren't that great. And you know that feeling when you get to a game and you feel, I have to do that again. That game had a lot of that for me. So, mm, give it a high B. Hope you guys. What do you guys think of it so far? Resident Evil 6. I freaked out when I first saw the trailer. Fangirled about it for so long. Got it. Maybe it was because of rose tinted glasses. Had a great time, everyone's campaign. But then, like, trying to play it again, I just get oh, like, it's painful. Yeah, you can have a good time in it, but I didn't after all that hype. So, there we go. Let's see here. Resident Evil Revelations 2. Love the game. Started playing it right when it came out. Problem I did not like with it was that it was episodic, and when you're a die-hard fan like me, you beat the episode. My favorite boss from Resident Evil. Now you're making me do the big think real quick. Let's see. I feel like it's cliche, but my favorite boss has to be William Birkin from Resident Evil 2. Just, you got the body horror aspect of him. It's a multi-stage boss fight. He starts off looking human, but the further he goes, more and more monstrous. He has a good story to him. His boss fights are fun. I would say William Birkin is my favorite boss. Resident Evil Revelations 2. Get to play as good old waifu Claire Redfield, and the new addition is Moira, who is Barry Burton's daughter, and then we get the man, the myth, the Jill sandwich maker himself, Barry Burton. Revelations 2 was good. Once, today you can just buy and play the whole thing. I played through it multiple times, had a good time. I think I can still probably do another playthrough, which I need to. Some parts of the game kind of painful. I like the boss. We get, even though it's not like a main story, we still get the lore, like additional lore. Story-wise, I will give it a A. No, gosh, I'm doing this a lot lately. I will put it in the same tier as its sister game, Resident Evil Revelations, but it's better than First Revelations. Sorry, breathing is hard sometimes. Uno momento.